Listen, I need y'all to hear me loud and clear right now. Some of you have been thinking about the same idea for years. You've been sitting on dreams, waiting on the perfect moment, planning, strategizing, overanalyzing, and you know what? You still haven't moved. Let me tell you something. Thinking ain't never paid no bills. Overthinking will talk you out of your own blessing. And while you're sitting there trying to figure out step 20, somebody else already took step 1 and now they're miles ahead of you. Enough is enough. Today, right here, right now, it's time to stop thinking, take action. Main speech now, I get it. You want to be sure, you want to be ready, but let me tell you something. You ain't never going to feel ready. You're waiting for confidence, for clarity, for a sign from heaven, but God ain't sending no email. Success don't come from thinking, it comes from doing. You learn by moving, you grow by trying, and yes, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna stumble, but guess what? That's how you get better. See, the difference between successful people and everybody else ain't that they had better ideas, it's that they acted on their ideas. How many times have you seen somebody else doing what you thought about years ago? That business you wanted to start, that book you wanted to write, that gym you wanted to open, and now you're mad because somebody else did it first. But they ain't steal your idea, you just never acted on it. I'm telling you, perfection is a lie. You keep waiting to be perfect, and meanwhile, life is passing you by. The only way to be great at something is to start when you ain't good at it. So what if you don't know how? Learn on the way. So what if you're scared? Do it scared. Take action, and the answers will show up. Look, your breakthrough is on the other side of movement. Your success is on the other side of fear. So today, make a decision. No more talking, no more waiting. It's time to move. Stop thinking. Take action and watch your life change. Overthinking is one of the biggest killers of opportunity. It's like standing at the edge of a pool wanting to jump in, but constantly questioning if the water is too cold, if you'll swim well, or if people will judge you. The longer you stand there, the harder it becomes to take the leap. Meanwhile, someone else just ran right past you and jumped in without hesitation. That's the difference between thinkers and doers. One stays stuck in their head and the other moves forward. The problem with overthinking is that it creates endless hesitation. You convince yourself that you're just being careful, that you're just preparing, but what you're really doing is building walls around your own progress. Every time you second guess yourself, you add another brick to that wall. You start to analyze every possible outcome, every potential failure, and before you know it, you've talked yourself right out of an opportunity that could have changed your life. Think about how many people have amazing ideas but never do anything with them. You might have thought about starting a business, writing a book, launching a YouTube channel, or switching careers. But instead of taking that first step, you've spent months, maybe even years thinking about it. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right moment, for the perfect conditions, for more knowledge, more confidence. But the truth is, no amount of thinking will ever replace action. Every opportunity has a window, and if you spend too much time thinking, that window closes. You wait too long and someone else takes the spot you could have had. Someone else goes after that job, starts that business, or launches that idea while you're still stuck in what-if mode. And the worst part, when you finally see someone else doing what you wanted to do, you feel that sting of regret, knowing that it could have been you. Overthinking doesn't just stop you from taking action, it makes things seem harder than they actually are. The more you analyze a situation, the more your mind magnifies the risks and downsides. Suddenly, something that was completely doable now seems impossible. You start imagining problems that don't even exist yet. Fear creeps in, and before you know it, you've paralyzed yourself. Action, on the other hand, creates momentum. When you move, even if it's not perfect, you start learning. You see what works, what doesn't, and you adjust along the way. But you'll never get to that point if you're stuck in your head. You don't need to know every single step before you begin. You just need to take the first one. So stop thinking so much. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop analyzing every little detail until you talk yourself out of it. The more you think, the less you do, And the less you do, the more you let opportunity slip through your fingers. Perfection is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. It's the excuse we use to justify why we haven't started yet. We say, I'll do it when I'm ready, or I need to learn more before I begin. But the truth is, perfection is just fear in disguise. It's a comfortable way of avoiding action because as long as you believe you're not ready, you don't have to take the risk. And as long as you don't take the risk, you don't have to face failure. But here's the reality. There is no perfect moment. There is no perfect version of you that suddenly wakes up one day with all the confidence, all the knowledge, and all the answers. The only way you get better at something is by doing it. You can't perfect a skill you've never practiced. You can't build a successful business without taking messy first steps. You can't become great at anything if you never start. Look at any successful person, and I guarantee you they didn't start out perfect. Their first business probably failed. Their first book wasn't their best. Their first speech, video, or project wasn't polished. But they didn't let that stop them. They pushed forward, learned along the way, and improved over time. If they had waited for perfection, they'd still be waiting. Think about a baby learning to walk. That baby doesn't sit there analyzing every step before trying. They just go for it. They stumble, they fall, but they get back up and try again. That's how progress works. But as we get older, we develop this fear of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of failing in front of others. So instead of trying, we wait. We tell ourselves, once I have everything figured out, then I'll start. But that day never comes. Perfection is an illusion because there will always be something you can improve. Even the best athletes, musicians, and business leaders are still learning. The only difference is that they started before they felt ready. They took the risk, embraced the messiness of the journey, and figured things out as they went. The longer you wait for perfection, the more time you waste. You could be building something. You could be learning through experience. You could be further ahead than you are now. But instead, you're stuck, waiting for a version of yourself that doesn't exist. It's time to let go of the need to be perfect. Start messy, start scared, start unsure, but start. Your first attempt might not be great, and that's okay. Your first video might be awkward. Your first business might flop. Your first speech might be shaky. But every time you take action, you get better. Every mistake teaches you something. Every failure moves you forward. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop believing in the lie of perfection. It's not real. What is real is progress. And progress only happens when you start. Success doesn't come from having the best ideas. It doesn't come from sitting around mapping out every single step or creating the perfect strategy. Success comes from doing. Planning has its place, but without execution, it means absolutely nothing. The world is full of people with brilliant ideas, but only a handful of them ever take action. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who spend their lives wondering, what if? A lot of people think that if they just plan enough, they'll eliminate the risk. They believe that if they prepare long enough, they'll avoid failure. But that's not how life works. No matter how much you plan, you will never be 100% ready. You can sit in a room for months, reading books, watching videos, and gathering information, but if you never take action, you won't move forward. Thinking about success and actually achieving it are two completely different things. The truth is, planning can sometimes become a trap. It gives you the illusion of progress when, in reality, you're just stalling. You feel productive because you're writing down ideas, organizing details, and making lists. But if you look back after months or even years and realize you haven't actually done anything, then all that planning was just another way to avoid taking the first step. Look at the most successful people in the world. They didn't wait until everything was perfect. They didn't have all the answers when they started. They just jumped in and figured things out along the way. They knew that action creates clarity. You learn more by doing in 1 month than you do by thinking for years. Real growth happens when you put yourself out there, make mistakes, and adjust as you go. There are plenty of dreamers in this world, people who talk about what they're going to do. They have these big visions, these grand ideas, but they never act on them. They say, one day I'm going to start my business, or one day I'm going to write that book. But that one day never comes because they stay stuck in the planning phase, waiting for everything to be just right. Meanwhile, someone else with half the talent, but twice the action, is out there making it happen. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to know every step before you begin. What you need is the courage to start. The first version of whatever you do won't be perfect, and that's okay. You'll learn, you'll adapt, and you'll improve. But none of that happens unless you take action. The people who succeed in life are not the ones with the best plans. They are the ones who execute. They take risks, make mistakes, and keep pushing forward. Winners don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it by taking action. That's what separates them from everyone else. People think they need confidence before they start something big. They wait to feel ready, to feel sure of themselves, to have that inner belief before they take the first step. But that's not how it works. Confidence doesn't show up at your doorstep fully formed, waiting to be used. Confidence is something you earn, and the only way to earn it is by taking action. What you really need to get started isn't confidence, it's courage. Courage is what pushes you forward when you're unsure. Courage is what makes you step up even when you feel small. Courage is what allows you to take that first step when you have no idea what step 2 looks like. It's about moving forward despite the fear, despite the doubt, and despite the fact that you don't feel ready. Most people don't lack talent, intelligence, or potential. They lack courage. They keep waiting for the day when they'll feel confident enough to apply for that job, start that business, or speak in front of a crowd. But confidence doesn't magically appear before you do those things. It comes from doing them. The more you act, the more experience you gain. The more experience you gain, the more confidence you build. It's a cycle, but the first step isn't confidence, it's action. Think about it. The first time you tried anything new, riding a bike, speaking in public, learning a skill, you weren't confident. You were nervous, maybe even terrified. But you did it anyway. You stumbled, you made mistakes, and over time you got better. And once you got better, confidence showed up. It didn't come before the action, it came because of it. Fear and doubt will always be there. Even the most successful people still feel them. The difference is that they don't wait for confidence to save them. They step out with courage, knowing that confidence will follow. That's how leaders are made. That's how businesses are built. That's how dreams are turned into reality, not by waiting, but by doing. Too many people stay stuck because they think they need to feel confident first. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready. But that day never comes. You will never wake up one morning suddenly feeling fearless. You will never suddenly feel like you have all the answers. That's not how confidence works. Confidence is like a muscle. You have to use it to build it. And the only way to use it is by stepping into the unknown with courage. If you keep waiting for confidence, you'll be waiting forever. But if you choose courage, if you decide to move forward despite the fear, you'll find that confidence comes naturally, right when you need it. It won't come before you act, but it will come because you acted. That's the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. The successful ones don't wait to feel confident. They take action, and confidence meets them on the other side. Failure is one of the most misunderstood parts of success. People fear it, avoid it, and do everything they can to prevent it. But what they don't realize is that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every mistake, every setback, every wrong turn is teaching you something that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. The people who win in life aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail, learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. The problem is that most people take failure personally. They see it as a sign that they're not good enough, that they should quit, that they weren't meant to do whatever they were trying to do. But failure doesn't mean you're incapable, it just means you're learning. It means you're in the process of figuring things out. If you never fail, that means you're not pushing yourself hard enough. It means you're staying in your comfort zone, playing it safe and avoiding risks. And if you do that, you'll never grow. Look at any successful person, and I guarantee you they've failed more times than they can count. Every great entrepreneur has had businesses that flopped. Every great athlete has lost games, missed shots, and made bad plays. Every great artist has created work that nobody liked. But instead of letting failure stop them, they used it as fuel. They studied their mistakes, adjusted their approach, and kept going. That's why they succeeded, because they refused to let failure define them. Most people give up too soon. They try something once, fail, and assume it wasn't meant for them. But that's not how success works. You have to be willing to go through the tough parts, to endure the rejections, the disappointments, and the struggles. Every failure is a lesson, a test to see if you're willing to keep going. And if you quit the moment things don't go your way, you'll never know how close you were to success. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't take their first step, fall down, and decide, well, I guess walking just isn't for me. No, they get back up and try again. They fall 100 times, but they keep going because they don't see failure as a reason to stop. They see it as part of learning. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we lose that mindset. We start thinking failure is something to be ashamed of, something to avoid. But if a baby thought like that, they would never learn to walk. And if you think like that, you'll never reach your potential. Every mistake you make is giving you information. It's showing you what works and what doesn't. It's pointing you in the right direction. The only real failure is refusing to try again. If you can learn from your mistakes, adjust your approach, and keep moving, there is nothing that can stop you. Failure isn't the end of the road. It's just a step on the journey to success. Ideas are worthless without action. You can have the most brilliant, game-changing idea in the world, but if you don't act on it, it means nothing. Someone else, somewhere, has the same idea, and if they have the courage to move while you're still sitting on it, they're going to win. They'll take the opportunity that could have been yours. They'll build the business, write the book, launch the product, and change their life, all while you're still thinking about it. The harsh truth is that ideas are not as rare as people think. Everyone has great ideas. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: execution. It's not the smartest person who wins. It's not the most creative or even the most talented. It's the one who acts, the one who takes the first step before they feel ready, the one who understands that an idea without action is just a fantasy. How many times have you seen something, an invention, a product, a business, and thought, I had that same idea, but the difference is someone else acted on it and you didn't. And now they're the ones reaping the rewards while you're stuck thinking about what could have been. That's how the world works. Execution is everything. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they have unlimited time. They assume they can sit on an idea for months, even years, and it'll still be theirs to claim. But the world doesn't wait. The longer you hesitate, the higher the chances that someone else will step up and make it happen. And once they do, it's too late. That could have been your business, your success, your breakthrough. But because you let fear, doubt, or perfectionism hold you back, someone else is living the life you wanted. People don't fail because of a lack of ideas. They fail because of a lack of action. They spend too much time waiting for the perfect moment, trying to plan every detail, convincing themselves they're just getting ready. But preparation means nothing without movement. The only way to know if an idea will work is to start. You'll never have all the answers in the beginning, and you don't need to. What you need is momentum. Look at the biggest companies, the most successful people. They didn't start with perfect plans. They started messy, they took risks, they made mistakes, but they moved, and that's why they got ahead. Meanwhile, millions of people with equally good ideas are still sitting on them, waiting for some magical feeling of certainty that will never come. Your idea is only special if you bring it to life. Otherwise, it's just another thought floating around in your head, waiting to be claimed by someone bolder than you. Don't let that happen. If you have something great in your mind, act on it before someone else does, because in the end, the only difference between you and the person who made it happen is that they did. You can't figure out the right path if you're standing still. Too many people wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect opportunity before they start moving. They sit there thinking, analyzing, and second-guessing, hoping that clarity will magically appear. But that's not how life works. You can't steer a parked car. You have to be in motion before you can make adjustments, before you can change direction, before you can see where you're actually supposed to go. Most people want guarantees before they take the first step. They want to know for sure that they're making the right decision, that things will work out exactly as planned. But that's an illusion. Nobody ever knows exactly how things will turn out. The people who succeed aren't the ones who had all the answers up front. They're the ones who started before they had the answers and figured it out along the way. Think about driving at night. Your headlights only show you a few feet ahead, but that's all you need. As long as you keep moving, the next few feet will be revealed, then the next and the next. That's how progress works. You don't need to see the whole road before you begin. You just need to take that first step and trust that the path will become clear as you go. The biggest mistake people make is standing still, waiting for certainty. They tell themselves, I need more time to think, or I'll start when I have it all figured out. But the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Fear settles in, doubt creeps up. You start to convince yourself that maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not good enough. And just like that, another year goes by and you're in the exact same place, still thinking about the thing you could have started. Movement creates momentum, and momentum creates clarity. When you start taking action, even if it's small, you start learning. You start discovering what works and what doesn't. You start seeing new opportunities that you never would have seen if you stayed in one place. But none of that happens if you don't move. Look at successful people and you'll see one common trait. They take action. They don't wait until they have every detail figured out. They make decisions, adjust when needed, and keep pushing forward. They trust that clarity will come through movement, not before it. And because of that, they get further faster while everyone else is still stuck in the planning phase. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to start, stop. If you're waiting to have every step mapped out before you begin, stop. Just start moving. Start with what you know. Start where you are and trust that the rest will unfold as you go. You can't steer a parked car. If you want direction in life, if you want progress, if you want success, you have to get in motion. The path will reveal itself, but only if you start driving. Opportunities don't come to people who sit around waiting. They come to the ones who take action, who put themselves out there, who move, even when they don't know exactly where they're going. Action attracts opportunity. The moment you start moving, doors start opening. People notice. Circumstances shift. Paths appear that weren't visible before. But if you stay still, if you keep waiting for the right time, the perfect conditions, or some magical sign, nothing happens. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they never start. They spend their time thinking about what they could do, what they should do, but they never take real action. And because of that, nothing changes. They stay stuck, watching others move forward, wondering why success always seems to happen for someone else. But the truth is, those lucky people aren't lucky at all. They just decided to move. Action creates momentum. The moment you take that first step, things start happening. You meet the right people. You stumble upon the right resources. You learn things you never would have known if you had stayed in the same place. It's like a chain reaction. One move leads to another, and suddenly you find yourself in places you never imagined. But none of that can happen if you don't take that first step. Think about someone looking for a job. If they sit at home just thinking about all the jobs they could apply for, nothing changes. But if they start applying, reaching out, showing up, suddenly they get interviews. They meet people who know someone, and opportunities start presenting themselves. That's not coincidence. That's action creating opportunity. This applies to every area of life. If you want to start a business, don't sit around waiting for the perfect idea. Start something. If you want to get in shape, don't wait for the perfect workout plan. Just start moving. If you want to improve your life, don't wait for motivation. Just take one small action and momentum will build. The problem is most people overthink everything. They analyze, they plan, they hesitate, and in the meantime, someone else with half their talent but twice their courage is out there making things happen. Life doesn't reward the people who wait. It rewards the ones who move, the ones who take risks, the ones who show up. When you take action, you send a message to yourself, to others, and to the universe that you're serious, that you're ready. And when you do that, opportunities start aligning with your efforts. It's like unlocking a hidden level in life that only becomes available once you step forward. But if you do nothing, nothing happens. No new opportunities, no new connections, no progress. Life stays exactly the same. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't a secret formula, it's action. Move, and the doors will open. Still, and they never will. The choice is yours. At the end of the day, success isn't about having the best ideas, the perfect plan, or even the most talent. It's about taking action. It's about moving forward, even when you're scared, even when you don't have all the answers, even when things aren't perfect. The people who win in life aren't the ones who sit around waiting for confidence, clarity, or the right moment. They're the ones who do. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every success story started with someone who took a step before they felt ready. They understood that perfection is a lie, failure is part of the process, and confidence is something you build, not something you start with. They didn't wait for opportunities to come to them, they created them through action. If you keep thinking without acting, nothing will change. But the moment you take action, everything shifts. Doors open, opportunities appear, momentum builds. The path becomes clearer with every step you take. And before you know it, you're not just dreaming about the life you want, you're living it. So stop overthinking, stop waiting, stop doubting, get up and move. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is action, and the time to take it is now.